Microphone's off. Hello again, try again. Hello everyone, it's Warriors NRL Fanatics. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. A real apologies for the late start. I originally started a stream and I accidentally clicked live, which was my mistake on my behalf. So Andy's here to jump on and have a chat, talk a bit of footy. Obviously he's quite a busy man at the moment, so he's been able to give up a bit of time to jump on and have a chat with me about the footy season coming up. Andy, it's great to have you on. It's for the third time in a row, and I'm very thankful that you accepted my request to come on again.
Always a pleasure. I love sitting here talking footy with you, and you are the Warriors NRL fanatic.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's good to have you on because your knowledge of the game. I always enjoy listening to your thoughts, and obviously you've got your own podcast as well, the Andy Raymond Unfiltered podcast. So obviously you can find all those podcasting platforms on Apple, Spotify, all those platforms you can find them there, and it's a great podcast weekly. You get a lot of former players on there, some current players on there as well. So yeah, I really enjoy your interviews with all the current and ex players. Yeah, so it's a great watch. So I just want to pop into the chat to see who's in the chat. So hello to everyone in the chat, guys. Don't forget, like the live stream if you haven't. Give that stream a thumbs up. Make sure you like the stream, and yeah, if you're a new viewer to the channel or returning viewer, please make sure you're subscribing to the channel as well. So we've got Nick from Australia in the chat. Hello to Nick. Good to see you in the chat. We've got CJ Moxley as well. Good to see you, CJ. And hello to Jason Reader in the chat as well. But let's get into it because you don't have a lot of time. So we'll get into the footy chat. So I just want to have a quick recap or look back on last year. So last year, what were your thoughts on last season? Because there was quite a few surprises. A few teams that, like the Warriors, the Broncos, who were expected to do well last year, but they really struggled. Especially my boys. They had a great 2023 season, and it really turned sour last year with the Broncos as well, who just lost Kiwi Walters in the off season. Now bringing back, bringing in a new coach as well. So, what were your thoughts? What were your thoughts on last season and your boys as well, the Eels, your boys Parramatta, who had a disappointing year and they lost Brad Arthur as well. So, what were your takes on just your quick little summary of how you thought last year was for the season as a whole in the NRL?
Yeah, it was one full of upsets, wasn't it? Especially those first couple of rounds. It was insane. And what eventually happened was we saw probably more upsets than we've ever seen. And apart from the top two sides, the bottom three sides, there was only a couple of games in between sort of third and 14th.
Yeah.
So that was exciting and that was good. It's a big year for a lot of clubs, the ones you mentioned, especially the Warriors. It's a big year for the Warriors, but you have signed the man, as far as I'm concerned, in JFH. He will bring more than just what he brings on the footy field. He brings it off the footy field. He gives other players confidence. He's a no BS type of guy. He's an extreme professional for such a young man. He will be the signing of the year for any club. Make no mistake about that.
Yeah, and what were your thoughts on Penrith once again winning the premiership last year? And obviously this year they've got a few losses, a few players leaving. The likes of Jerome Loy, who's gone over to the Tigers, the West Tigers. Obviously they've still got a good crop of players still there. But do you think Penrith going into this year are now going back to the pack, or are they a team you still don't want to write off going into this season?
I'm certainly not writing them off. They lost Matt Burton and company 2 seasons ago. They lost Stephen Crichton a season ago. Now it's Jerome Luai and James Fisher-Harris. I think that's probably the most significant losses this off-season. Taruva there'll be another Sunil Taruva come through, but Fisher Harris and Luai are the big ones. They're the team to beat, and I don't know how anyone could say they won't be or they aren't. The Melbourne Storm just keep doing Melbourne Storm things. If you're one of the negative ones and you write off Melbourne each year, you'd be getting sick and tired of being wrong. They just continually come up with the goods. I think, early prediction, no surprises. I think it's Penrith and Melbourne. I think the Sharks, again, will be good. I think the Sharks will, again, be consistent. There's a lot of other sides on that next level. There could be 12 or 13 sides on that next level. And then it comes down to who has injuries, who gets bounced to the ball, who gets suspensions, a whole range of things. But I think the Storm.
Yeah, and just if you guys got any questions, feel free to put your questions through to Andy in the live chat as well. And Nick's got a question for you here in regards to his Cowboys. He's a massive Cowboys sport. He's a content creator in the NRL world, and he's asking here, my question for Andy is, what does he expect from the Cowboys in 2025, and will they play finals?
Nick, 100%. I reckon they are on that next rung of teams from probably 4 to 14. If they stay fit, they should be playing finals footy. To me, it's as simple as that. But you think about this, if Tom Dearden misses 6 games, if Jason Taumalolo or Scott Drinkwater miss 6 games, all of a sudden it starts getting tough. And you can say the same about that with Brisbane, with Payne Haas, Reece Walsh and Katoni Staggs. If Parramatta lose Mitchell Moses, Junior Polo and Jermaine Hopgood for 6 games, where does it leave them? So much of it comes down to fate. So much of it comes down to luck and luck of the draw in terms of, who gets injuries and who doesn't. But I expect North Queensland to be banging right on that door. CJ Moxley's got a question. Does South Sydney get back up there? I'm expecting so. Despite the last 2 years, I still remain confident in our squad and now the coach. I agree with you, CJ. And you've always got a good take on footy, and I agree with you, mate. I think South Sydney should be expecting a top 8, and anything less would be, I'm not going to say a failure because that's nasty. They wouldn't be happy. That'd be filthy. That they should be playing top 8 football with that roster. Yeah, I know there's question marks about up front, but they're not the only club that you might consider to be a little light on front row forwards. Parramatta, my mob, is another one light on front row forwards. Tell you who's not light on front rowers, the Sharks. They've got 5 or 6 that would probably slide into most squads around the NRL. So for Nick and CJ, wishful thinking. Keep them crossed, boys. Keep them crossed, the fingers, and hope there's no injuries.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing my ladder predictions for the season coming from Thursday night on my channel here. So it's always hard. It's always hard putting up your predictions.
Yeah.
You don't, you get, obviously you get the people that will say, oh, your predictions. Some people don't like it when you predict their team down the bottom, or and all that. At the end of the day, it's like your opinion and it's what you say. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. So I'll be putting out my predictions real soon on Thursday night as well. So
good.
Yeah. So just I actually want to have a talk about another thing. State of Origin last year. New South Wales. I'm a Queensland fan. Because I live up here in Queensland. But Michael Maguire, he came in last year and he did a very good job to get the Blues over the line in that series. And the big news, obviously the biggest bombshell, was Maguire leaving New South Wales after that series. What were your thoughts on the Origin series and Maguire announcing that he's going to be going back to head coaching land in the NRL? What was your take on it?
Here's one that not everyone's going to agree with. I think in State of Origin, I think we talk about coaches way too much, and I just think it's the best players in the game from one state against the best players in the game from another state. Laurie Daly, Ricky Stewart, and Craig Bellamy have been criticised because they didn't beat Queensland in that golden era. No one was going to beat Queensland in that golden era where they won 8 straight. It didn't matter who the coach was. I don't think it matters who the New South Wales coach was last year. Michael Maguire's a very good coach. I don't think it matters. It could have been Michael Maguire. It could have been CJ Moxley. Or it could have been Wayne Bennett. I think the result's the same. I think New South Wales had the better team, the better performance last year. And again, it's going to come down to that. People saying, oh, why did they pick Laurie Daly? Why did they pick? He didn't work last time. Well, he was also up against that almighty Queensland side, probably the best side we have seen put together. Laurie's a really smart dude. I've known Laurie for 35 years. I've worked with him for about 15. Super smart dude and super smart football dude. Very good man as well. He knows how to coach. He knows what he needs to do. Has he got the players? And I say, yes, he does have the players this year.
Yeah, and I think with Origin, it's every season, it's always one of those tough series. And obviously as a Queensland fan, I was pretty disappointed with the end result, of course. But obviously with New South Wales, you'd be very happy to win that series if you're a New South Wales fan. But I think this year is going to be really interesting as well, how to see how it all plans out, because New South Wales now under another new coach now, so that'll be interesting. And Billy Slater, he'll want to a bounce back, get Queensland back up and lift that shield. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting. There wasn't much in it last year, and there probably won't be a whole lot in it again this year.
Yeah, another thing is actually I want to ask your opinion on is NRL expansion. Now, NRL expansion is a big talking point in the NRL rugby league community as a whole. And it was just a bit of news that broke not long ago about the PNG side coming in to the NRL competition. Now, look, personally, I have my own opinion. I think you will have your own opinion. Everyone's got their opinions at the end of the day. I think, I would have loved to seen a team from Perth or, another second New Zealand team, personally. That's just my point of view. Nothing against PNG and the people of PNG. I know they love their rugby league as a whole, but there's a bit of talk around, governments, funding it. What's your take over it? What is your personal views over the PNG side coming into the comp?
I think there's going to be significant problems in terms of playing roster, and that's just that's just the footy side of it. I don't think there'll be any business issues because there's a lot of industrial money in PNG. I think those sponsors will jump on board. I don't know how they will attract Australian-born and raised players initially, and I think it could be a real slog for PNG for a number of years. They've got the huge guarantee from the Australian government, from the PNG government, from PNG Sport. I thought New Zealand, another side, and I thought Perth, another side, both different time zones. I thought from a business perspective, I thought that was the way to go. I wish PNG all the best. I'll be cheering them on. They will be everyone's second or third side. But I don't think it's going to be a smooth one. Getting players, keeping players, and being successful.
Yeah, I personally had this chat with another content creator and Warriors fan, and Hold the Ball. He's me and Hold the Ball has a big strong opinions on the whole new team, and he's from South Australia. He's big on wanting a team in Adelaide. Of course he is, because he lives there. And he would love to see it happen. And South Australia, I know Adelaide, they don't get to host a lot of NRL games, and I put it to you. Well, what do you think? Like, would you like to see like some of these games? Like, I've seen them take a lot of games out of the the usual cities, but Adelaide, is Adelaide maybe a prospect, or somewhere else like that, or what are your thoughts on that?
I don't think Adelaide coming into the comp anytime soon is on anyone's radar. I think after
Mm,
New Zealand and Perth, I think another Brisbane or another Southeast Queensland
yeah,
side would make a whole lot of sense. The people is there, the football is there. As the Dolphins and the Titans have shown, the crowd support is there. I don't see any reason why Lang Park, Suncorp Stadium, for us old blokes, it's still Lang Park, shouldn't be used twice every weekend. Like a Friday game and a Sunday game, and there's enough footy interest up there. Nick has just asked. I want to ask: the NRL media have too much of a negative impact on coaches that are struggling with clubs? In form slumps, is the criticism sometimes too harsh? Absolutely, mate. Absolutely, it is.
mm,
There's far too much negativity in NRL media for me, but there's also, mate, I think there's a lot of bitching, and journalists take sides with players and or coaches and or player managers who feed them stories, and if you don't
yeah,
feed them stories, a lot of them just bag you at any opportunity. And I reckon you guys can, pardon me, fill in the blanks as to who feeds who what. If you look at stories and you look at leaks and you look who's involved, I think it becomes pretty transparent pretty quickly. But yeah, mate, too much negativity for me. It's one thing I don't miss.
yeah. It's always there's always a lot of media scrutiny around the
Mm,
coaches. And I know the players do get the scrutiny. Don't get me wrong, but sometimes the coaches get a lot more than um,
yeah,
you know, the players. I know that might sound a big thing to say, but sometimes it does
mm,
feel like the coaches get a lot more pressure
yeah,
put
I
on them.
agree.
Yeah.
I
So,
agree.
but yeah. Also, just want to have a also chat. Just talking about the international rugby league scene. Pacific Championship. They had the Pacific Championship last year, and I don't know what are your overall thoughts, because at the end of the season we had the NRL ends the season. A lot of people may not be aware that we had the Pacific Championship.
Mm.
Because I think the promotion of the Pacific Championship is there's not much promotion around it.
No, no.
You know,
I think at the end of last year, the International Rugby League, along with
mm,
the governing bodies, came up with a solid calendar for the next 4 or 5 years. So
yeah,
we know who's playing who. We know when there's tours. We know when there's not tours. I love seeing Samoa, Tonga,
mm,
New Zealand. Obviously, Samoa and Tonga have become real powerhouses over the last couple of
yeah,
years, and I think the focus on International Rugby League is terrific. And I reckon in 4 or 5 years, it'll be Australia, New Zealand, Samoa, and Tonga as the top
mm.
four teams in any order, and it'll be England a distant fifth, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I absolutely love the international game. I would love to
Mm.
see it, grow more and get more eyes on it, because the
Yeah.
promotion, just promoting it, getting it out there. And I know the thing is with the scheduling, it's a bit like
Mm.
there's a big talking point, the scheduling of when you have it, because
Yeah.
the Pacific Championship, I think when they have it at the back end of the NRL season, I think the timing, because people after the NRL, they tend to clock off.
Yeah.
May not, some people may be interested in the international game. Some people aren't really interested in the international game.
Mm.
So, are you a fan of having it at the back end of the year, or would you like to have it like during the Origin period? Because
I don't think you can have it in the middle of the year.
oh,
You
yep,
cut. We couldn't. I don't believe, from a business perspective or interest perspective, I don't think you could pause the NRL for a month and run all the rep stuff. And I also think coaches would be
mm,
pulling players out of representative football if it was in the middle of the season, not wanting to risk Nathan Cleary, or Cameron Munster in a game that didn't have to be played. The clubs are the ones paying the players,
mm,
not the states or the country. So the clubs probably need to have that say, hey boys, I've got to run because I've a 9 o'clock phone call. I'm going to leave you with this one though.
yep,
Uh, put a bit of thought into this. Loving Las Vegas and the experience. But why wouldn't we be holding the club challenge and billing it as the World Championship of Rugby League, having the club challenge or the club championship as one of the games? So you've got one Australian side versus one Super League side on the day. You can have one Super League, UK Super League round game. You can have one NRL game, and you can have the women as well. So you still get your 4 games, but you can bill it as the World Championship of Rugby League. I reckon that'd be terrific. Anyway, guys, CJ, Nick, the rest of the crew, Jacko, Jason, thanks for joining us. Don't forget, Thursday, you're doing your predictions and ladder. We'll be having a look at that too, and we'll be keeping you honest to the back end of the year. Have a good one, guys.
All good. Thanks for coming on. Cheers, Andy. Yeah, well, thanks to Andy for coming on. It's a bit of a short one, but of course, he hasn't got a lot of time, so I do appreciate some of the time he actually gave up to jump on. And yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks for jumping on. Yeah, have a good one. And I'll see you guys all in the next live stream. We'll tune in on Wednesday night. I'll be back for another live stream on Wednesday night as well. So, yeah, Andy, what an absolute legend he is. So, yeah, well, I'd love to have him on for a bit longer, but, obviously he hasn't got the time and he's quite busy, man. So I do appreciate him for actually jumping on, at least coming on and having a little bit of a chat and a brief chat all the same. But it's great to have him on. So thanks, Andy, for coming on. Appreciate him for jumping on and having a chat with me to talk all things footy related. But guys, I'll be back again on Wednesday night for live stream, and also Thursday night for my ladder predictions. Wednesday night with the great man, Warriors fan Anton Poser will be coming on for a chat, and yeah, we'll have another chat with him on Wednesday. Then Thursday night we'll be back as well for the NRL ladder predictions for 2025 season. But thanks for tuning, everyone. Have a good one. Up the Wars, go the Mighty Warriors, and we will see you guys all in the next one. Cheers.